Ladies Night. Tammy Bruce, Jessica Tarlov, Carly Shimkus, thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Tammy, let me start with you. Does Elizabeth Warren wake up this morning going, I guess I got to contend with her for sure?
Yeah, I think everyone's thinking that. But at the same time, when Warren first entered, I thought it was odd because her constituency is Bernie Sanders' constituency. She's not as popular as him. She doesn't have as much access to as much money. And she splits that vote. And I thought, why is she willing to go in there to split that vote? So I'm not so sure that we have an answer yet about why she's there. Look, a lot of these individuals, like when the Republicans have had a primary, are looking to bolster their own profile, right? And it could be that situation. I don't know if she actually thinks she's going to be the nominee or looking
You mean Warren? You're talking about Warren.
I'm talking about Warren.
Yeah.
If Warren actually is looking at this as being a job introduction for the next Democratic president.
Jessica's making a face. I think Warren's pretty serious about the nomination.
She definitely is serious. She has a lot of money she borrowed from her Senate campaign. She has a big campaign chest. And
not as much as
going into
Sanders.
No, absolutely, that's absolutely true. But going into the debate, she was the #1 most surging candidate. There's a morning consult poll out, the snap after this debate saw Kamala Harris the biggest bump, 11 points. Warren up a few, Biden down 4. Bernie Sanders was the one who needed to perform better. And it looks like if you're going to be going far left, you're going to Elizabeth
Sanders,
Warren.
For sure. Marianne Williamson was the outlier, meaning she was the last one on the end there, but perhaps an outlier of sorts as well. I remember her as, the self-help guru of the 80s. Everybody remembers her. She went on Oprah, and here's what she said last night.
So, Mr. President, if you're listening, I want you to hear me, please. You have harnessed fear for political purposes, and only love can cast that out. So sir, I have a feeling you know what you're doing. I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field, and, sir, love will win.
Wow. Love always wins. I mean, I'm not going to, speak out against a message of love. A message of love is a great thing. But I know I'm not the only person in the country who, sort of imagined a Saturday Night Live skit during the course of the entire watching of that last night.
Actually.
And Kate McKinnon was thinking about it, too. Here she is on Seth Meyers' Watch.
My plan is to gather all the sage in America and burn it. My plan is to harness the energy of babies to finally put a man on the moon. And I said to the president of New Zealand, I said, girlfriend, you're so on. And I would say to Donald Trump, boyfriend, you chill.
I'd vote for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I would vote for.
Well, of course, clearly Marianne Williamson's style of speech is better suited for a weekend retreat than the debate type forum. But I thought it was refreshing. She is unapologetically herself. And when there are so many candidates on the debate stage that are trying to be somebody who they aren't, the Elizabeth Warren, somebody get me a beer, I'm going to get me a beer moments, the pandering with the Spanish from Beto O'Rourke, it was sort of refreshing to see somebody that's just comfortable in their own skin.
I also think if you look at the two ends of the stages, I would rather be on Team Marianne Williamson than Eric Swalwell any day. Like coming in there, swiping at Biden within 30 seconds. And Marianne Williamson is just saying, we're not doing the right things here. We've been over policy. Remember, she said that. Like, Donald Trump didn't win as a policy wonk. He just had slogans.
I like the moment when everybody was playing Can You Top This with their latest medical problem. Well, I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital.
But if you were in Los Angeles during the 80s, as mentioned, she's got a big following.
Absolutely.
She is being herself, absolutely. At the same time, she also has friends across the political spectrum there. She has conservative friends, liberal friends. I mean, she really has kind of transcended this. But I do think it's a really good opportunity for Democrats and Americans to realize, after the Democratic Party being kind of shut down for a while, like the Republicans, of the kind of variety of people who are Democrats, the different points of view, and how maybe that kind of part of a conversation is valuable.
All right, I'm going to jump over to the G20 now and take a look at a moment that got a lot of attention in the social media world. Speaking of love, exactly. So, a little kiss with the Argentinian president's wife. She's a beautiful woman. And I think, there was just a moment of titter laughter and everyone saying, well, what's so funny? And of course, this gets made something of. She's a beautiful woman, as is his wife, Melania Trump. And why is there anything wrong with that?
Well, there's no shortage of beautiful women across every, when
Look
you go
at
to
this
the G20.
table right now.
Exactly. But my question would be, seriously, with the media being focused on that, would there still be a question of that if she looked like Angela Merkel? If she did not look like that? Look, he'd also met her before. We've had the couple at the White House, so he knows her. He said he'd worked with the Argentinian president's father in a business deal a long time ago. So there's a history there. And maybe it's fun to wonder what they talked about, but it's a fascinating group, I'm sure, at the
Oh, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
You see, you know, Mohammed bin Salman is standing there. Putin's right next to them. I'm always fascinated by these pictures. But let's put up this picture of President Obama back at the Mandela funeral. And he got a lot of heat for this, you know, selfie moment with
Look at Michelle or
Look at the First Lady.
Yeah, the former First Lady. Wow. I remember when this happened, and it was a bit of a... I mean, I think that Michelle Obama's right in that regard because it was at a funeral. This didn't look appropriate for the president. But everybody is always going to sort of hone in on these moments of sort of intimacy when it comes to presidents. Whether the president holds Melania Trump's hand is also a big thing that people talk about. So
everybody
it's just,
watches
the
these
gossip in us.
interactions. I don't know if there's any meaning in them or not.
I think after, you know, I haven't been married for decades, but I'm sure at some points you just aren't holding hands, and at other points you are holding hands. I think people also like it. I remember that about the selfie and the inappropriateness of this. But I think with Trump, because of who he is and where he came from, like New York City kind of womanizer, playboy guy, it's a fun narrative to be like, oh, I found the hot one. Yeah. And then he was whispering to her. He was like, MBS, this is cool.
And everybody cracked up in the group.
And they did host the Argentinian couple in 2017, so they do have a history. And he said that he
wasn't kissing a random.
Exactly.
They're friends. They're friends. All right. Thank you, ladies. All of you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You tonight. You do the same.
World, isn't it?
It sure is. More of the story coming up.